War costs trillions and shatters lives, but for a select few, it's incredibly profitable. This isn't an accident. It's a self-perpetuating system that President Eisenhower famously warned us about. The military-industrial complex, a system where perpetual conflict becomes a business model. This is the story of who secretly profits from global conflict and how they have built a system that needs war to survive. Hi everyone, I'm George Economou, a PhD economist. Before I analyze that system I mentioned though, take a moment and subscribe to my channel. Doing that, you will not only help my effort here, but you will also help ideas and analysis like this find more curious minds like you. Now, back to the video. To understand the machine, you first have to appreciate the sheer volume of fuel it consumes. In 2024, global military spending hit a staggering $2.7 trillion. That year saw a 9.4% jump in spending from 2023, the sharpest year-over-year increase since the end of the Cold War. The United States alone spent nearly $1 trillion, $997 billion to be exact, accounting for 37% of the entire world's military budget. To put that in perspective, the US spends more on defense than the next 9 countries combined. When you add in its NATO allies, that figure swells to over 1.5 trillion, a staggering 55% of all military spending on the entire planet. This isn't just abstract accounting. In Russia, the war in Ukraine is expected to consume nearly a third of the nation's entire 2024 budget. Meanwhile, direct damage to Ukraine's infrastructure, homes, hospitals, and power plants turned to rubble has reached an estimated $176 billion. And history shows this pattern repeating. The post-9/11 wars cost the US over $8 trillion, a figure that includes not just direct spending, but also future obligations for veterans' care. This river of taxpayer money flowing into the coffers of defense begs the question, where exactly does it all go? The answer lies with a handful of corporate giants who have become the primary beneficiaries of this unprecedented spending. While thousands of companies are part of the defense supply chain, the industry is dominated by 5 colossal contractors, often called the Big Five. After a wave of consolidation in the 90s shrunk over 50 major players down to just a handful, these companies now hold a near monopoly on the world's most advanced and lucrative weapon systems. First up is Lockheed Martin. As America's largest defense contractor, it is the primary builder of the F-35 Lightning II, the most expensive weapon system in history. The total purchase price for the planned fleet is projected to exceed $200 billion, with lifetime costs spiraling into the trillions. Next is RTX, formerly Raytheon Technologies, a giant in missile systems and advanced sensors. RTX has been a major supplier in the Ukraine conflict, securing multi-billion-dollar contracts to produce Stinger, AMRAAM, and Patriot missiles to replenish stocks sent overseas. Then there is Boeing. While most of us know them for commercial airlines, its defense, space, and security division builds everything from fighter jets to the KC-46A Pegasus tanker. General Dynamics follows with a diverse portfolio specializing in combat vehicles like the Abrams tank and nuclear-powered submarines. And finally, there is Northrop Grumman, a leader in aerospace and cutting-edge tech. It's the lead contractor for the new B-21 Raider stealth bomber and a dominant force in America's nuclear modernization programs. These 5 companies aren't just contractors, they are integral parts of the national security apparatus. Their financial health is now directly tied to the national budget, creating a powerful incentive to make sure that budget stays as high as possible. So how do these companies ensure the money keeps flowing? They have perfected a three-pronged strategy that keeps the cycle of spending turning: lobbying, the revolving door, and political engineering. First, lobbying. The defense industry spends astronomical sums to influence policymakers. In 2023, military contractors spent over $139 million lobbying Congress and the Pentagon. That's over $380,000 every single day. This investment funds an army of lobbyists. In some years, nearly 1,000 of them, whose job is to ensure that every defense bill is loaded with contracts favorable to their employers. Second is the revolving door. This is the seamless transition of high-ranking Pentagon officials, military officers, and congressional staffers into lucrative executive and board positions at the very defense firms they once oversaw. One 2022 report identified 672 instances of former government and military officials working for the top 20 defense contractors as lobbyists, board members, or executives. This practice creates a network of deep-seated influence, blurring the line between public service and private profit. It's so effective that programs exist to place promising military officers directly inside top contractors for a year, including major weapons manufacturers. The third pillar is shaping public perception. Defense contractors are masters at spreading their manufacturing facilities across many congressional districts as possible. The F-35 program, for instance, has suppliers in 48 states. This turns a weapons system into a jobs program, making it politically toxic for a representative to vote against funding a project that employs their own constituents. They have successfully framed military spending not as a cost, but as an economic benefit, a driver of innovation and employment. This intricate system ensures that the demand for weapons remains high, that contracts are awarded with minimal competition, and that budgets continue to grow year after year, conflict after conflict. While the defense industry calculates its profits in the billions, the true cost of war is measured in human lives and shattered economies. The contrast is stark and horrifying. The post-9/11 wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Yemen, and Pakistan have caused over 940,000 direct deaths, with the total death toll from war-related causes estimated to be as high as 4.7 million. These aren't just statistics. They are families torn apart and futures erased. The economic devastation is equally profound. The idea that war is good for the economy is a dangerous myth, often called the broken window fallacy. Spending billions to replace a bombed-out bridge doesn't create new wealth. It's a tragic use of resources just to get back to zero. Every dollar spent on a missile is a dollar not spent on education, healthcare, or clean energy. In fact, some studies show a strong negative correlation, suggesting that a 1% increase in military spending as a share of GDP can reduce a country's long-term economic growth by over 1%. On top of that, modern warfare is a major contributor to climate change. The US military is the single largest institutional consumer of fossil fuels in the world. The environmental damage from conflict persists long after the fight stops, poisoning land and water for decades. This is the hidden ledger of war. Immeasurable human suffering, economic ruin, and environmental destruction, all weighted against the record revenues and stock prices of a handful of companies. What if there was another way? There is a concept known as the peace dividend, the economic benefit that comes from reducing military spending and reallocating those funds to more productive sectors. It's not a fantasy. It's a proven economic model. After the Cold War, many nations cut their defense budgets, which freed up capital for private investment and other government priorities. Research consistently demonstrates that investing in clean energy, healthcare, and education creates far more jobs per dollar than investing in the military sector. One IMF paper found that a global 20% cut in military spending could cause a small, short-term dip in GDP, but would lead to significant long-term growth as private investment increases. Imagine what the $2.7 trillion spent globally on defense in just 1 year could accomplish. It could fund global efforts to combat climate change, eradicate diseases, or provide quality education for every child on Earth. This isn't about dismantling national defense. It's about questioning the sheer scale and the intensives that drive it. It's about recognizing the immense opportunity cost of a world organized around perpetual conflict. The system is working exactly as it was designed to. A deeply entrenched network of corporations, lobbyists, and politicians has created a cycle where war isn't a last resort, but a recurring business opportunity. Vast sums of public money are poured into defense, generating immense profits for a few, while the true costs, human, social, and economic, are borne by the many. Eisenhower's warning wasn't a prediction. It was a diagnosis of a political and economic disease, a disease that thrives in the shadows, fueled by public funds and public fears. The solution isn't simple, but it begins with awareness. It begins with asking critical questions about where our money goes and who truly benefits from the policies enacted in our name. If you found this exploration insightful, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more deep dives into the systems that shape our world. And let me know in the comments below what is the single most shocking fact you learned about the military-industrial complex. The ultimate question we are left with is one that should haunt us all. How can we build a world where peace is more profitable than war? See you all in the next video. Bye bye.